came together and really worked to make this happen. Thank you for the young people who have gathered around Tim and formed Peaceful Uprising. And in these times when it's very easy to despair and to see what's going wrong, I'd like to take my 2 minutes here and talk about hope. And I want to talk to you about what I have discovered, that when we reach out to our communities and we have a vision and we're willing to work with people, what the possibilities are. I came down from the mountain. I'd been up in Great Basin National Park, and I went on a vision quest because I'd been in the environmental movement for a long time, worked on a lot of issues, and was basically burned out. Now, Joanna Macy points out there's three kind of major processes. She's one of the great elders of the environmental movement. The great turning, the great transformation that needs to occur happens through three processes. One is the holding patterns, and that's what we are doing here, and that's what Peaceful Uprising is about, and that's what every activist who's gone to a legislative hearing, who's written letters, that's what that is all about. And that's trying to keep things safe and buy a little time. And one of the things that happens about that is it's really easy to get burned out. So my young friends that are doing that, I want you to know that that's not the whole piece to the great turning. There's another piece to the great turning that Joanna Macy talks about, and that is that we envision the new seeds of the society that we want. And we begin to work to create those. And you'll see around here booths from different nonprofits, and there's others that are not here. And one of the things that we can do is pick a nonprofit that speaks to something that you really care for and donate. Donate time. And if you don't have a lot of money, donate $10. But the nonprofits of the world right now are really struggling because they rely on foundations, and foundations rely on their money being in the stock market, and I don't have to say anything more. So that's the second piece, is like we take some vision of the future, and we quit waiting for our politicians to do it, and you and I set out and do it. I'm going to finish with a little vision that we have at TreeUtah. And TreeUtah is just a small nonprofit organization, and it's like a lot of other wonderful nonprofit organizations, but we have a dream. We have a dream that this valley that we see around us, which is filled with lawns and trees and all of these parking lots and all of that, can be changed. What we have created is a biological wasteland. You know what? We know how to turn this into an ecological sanctuary. And we don't have to wait for our leaders to tell us to do this. And you know what? We don't even have to wait to convince someone that climate change is happening. Because if you go into your yard, if you're blessed to do it, we can show you, and if you want to know how you can come to our website or you can look at our booth. But we now know how you can take trees and shrubs and plants and put them together so that we create an ecological oasis in your yard. And if you do it in your yard and your neighbor sees it, it won't matter what he thinks about climate change. It's going to be beautiful, and it has food in it. It has organic food in it. It's protecting the soil. It's using very little water. And it's creating habitat for wildlife. It doesn't matter what his political beliefs are. People will get that. We just need to take our deepest visions and go out into the world and make them happen. And we still need to ask our leaders to change. But we don't need to just stay there. And there's one final thing that Joanna Macy talks about, and I won't be able to go into it, even though it's a great subject that I'd love to talk to you about. And all you have to do is come out and plant trees with me, and we'll talk about it together while planting trees. And that is that the third process of the great turning is the changing of our hearts and minds and understanding that I am not separate from you, and I'm not separate from the tree, and I'm not separate from the sky. And that's not just poetry. That is, if you believe you're a separate object, hold your breath for about 10 minutes. We are so interconnected. We are not things. The universe is not made up of atoms. It is made up of our stories and our poetry. Thank you for our poets. We just need to restore ourselves. Thank you.